Cool. So thank you everybody for joining today. This is our third Lunch and Learn session, so we're very glad to still have a turnout for these events. My name is Megan Ringo. I'm the Research Program Manager for Dr. Brown's team at UW-Madison, but I help a little bit with this project. And so it's my honor to introduce Sharon Krause, correct?
Krause, actually.
Krause, oh man. Sharon Krause and Lashawnda Maulson, who will be sharing about work that their coalition does, as well as some youth development projects. So I will hand it over to Sharon.
Okay, thank you. Well, hello and bonjour to everyone. I'm Sharon Krause. I'm the Positive Youth Development Educator, and for Extension, I work in, sorry, just getting my screen together here. I work in both Oneida County and with the Lac du Flambeau tribe. And what we're going to be talking to you about today is how several coalitions from our area work together. And I'm just going to hide the video altogether here. All right. Again, I work in Oneida County right now, but until last year, I was working full-time in Vilas County. Last year, the county decided to cut the entire Extension office, and Extension left me working in Lac du Flambeau half-time. Lac du Flambeau is in the southwest corner of Vilas County, and it gives us a population, Native Americans and Vilas County make up about 11% of our total population. They are overrepresented in regards to recovery efforts, substance abuse, incarcerated people in our county jail. So we have a lot to do, and we've been working together on it. The Vilas County Youth Coalition partners with two coalitions in Lac du Flambeau on a regular basis. The Healthier Community Action Team and what we call Minnow, the Minabima-Diziwin Coalition. And so we're actually talking about three coalitions today. As I'm sure most of you are aware, once you're in one coalition, you're very rarely only in one. You always end up in more than one. So I'm going to start by talking about the Vilas County Youth Coalition. The vision of the VCYC is to strengthen and promote youth health and resiliency. And this logo was actually created by a youth. The green represents the fact that Vilas County is about 64% state and national forests. We also have over 2,000 lakes in Vilas County. So very rural, people very spread out. Resources are hard to get to. Mental health resources are few. Many families have to travel down to Wausau or Marshfield to get help. And so we really have to work together up here to get things done. The coalition was founded in 2001 by my predecessor in Vilas County, Nancy Miller. And so it was always chaired by an educator in the Extension office. And we have our own 501c3 status. What often happens is when our three coalitions work together on a project, or we want to buy things in bulk, we combine our efforts on that, and the VCYC will pay for it, but then the other two coalitions will reimburse us. So we really work together on a lot of different things, and everything I'm about to show you that the Vilas County Youth Coalition does, the other coalitions helped with it. So this is the organizational chart, and as you can see, again, we've got Extension here. This no longer applies because when Vilas County eliminated the Extension office, I had to step down as chair. So we just have the coalition here now, but as you can see, we have all these different partners, and our main ones are Minnow, HCAT, And then HCAT has this really cool effort called the Community Engagement Team. And Lashawnda will be talking about that. We also partner with a bunch of other coalitions, and I'll mention them later. The two major efforts I'm going to talk about today with the Vilas County Youth Coalition are the Partnership for Success Grant and an annual 6th grade conference that we do. The Partnership for Success Grant, in case you're not aware of it, it's from SAMHSA. It's based on a strategic prevention framework, which means you look at a public health crisis at different levels with various kinds of methods to address it. And in our case, this grant was really focused on the opioid crisis. Our county was hit harder by the opioid crisis than most counties in Wisconsin. And if you look at our logo here for the Vilas County Youth Coalition, we have 3 main areas that we talk about: health, resiliency, and community. So I'm going to talk about each of these and the efforts we did for them. So in promoting healthy living, one of the things we do is we sponsor the Northwoods Community Garden. We actually have master gardeners from Extension who help advise that. And there is a youth component to that. So that's one thing we do with Youth for Healthy Living. The other that all 3 coalitions work on is a special website called Stop the Use. And that was it's called a microsite, and we use it to educate the community on existing resources for alcohol, opioids, and other drug issues. And the way this microsite works is you can go to it and just look at a resource page. So if you're looking for help for yourself or someone else, you can see all the local and area resources available. And if that's not enough, if you're still not sure what to do, then you can send an email and it goes to one of our coalition members who knows what all the resources are, and they will call you within 24 hours and help direct you to the right place to go. We also did a lot of community awareness with the grant. The 2 main campaigns the grant focused on were no meth. Meth was a big problem up here. And then the dose of reality with the prescription meds. And we did a lot of printed materials. As you can see here, we did a lot of movie theater ads in all the local cinemas here. And then we also have several billboards in the county. This one is in Lac du Flambeau and in Eagle River, and it features some local recovery coaches. We also had dose of reality billboards. To lessen access to opioids, we had 3 different methods that we focus on. One is lock boxes. We hand these out for free. Before COVID, the last year, 2019, we handed out 115 of these. And again, that's just the Vilas County Youth Coalition. And the other coalitions also handed these out. All 3 coalitions also handed out deterra bags. In fact, right now, the Vilas County Youth Coalition is helping mail deterra bags to most households in Vilas County. And again, I'm not sure what everybody's background is, but these deterra bags are full of chemicals. I think it's mostly just like charcoal, and you can dump your prescription meds in there and shake it up, and it detoxifies them, I guess, and you can seal up the bags and throw them away. And then we also have permanent drop boxes. We have these in the Eagle River Police Department, the Vilas County Sheriff's Department, and the Lac du Flambeau Wellness Center. So people can drop off their meds anytime at those places. And again, especially before COVID, we were really focusing on the vaping epidemic among youth. We did the Hidden in Plain Sight program, which is you set up a mock teen bedroom kit, and you have various drug paraphernalia and vaping devices hidden around the room. Anybody can go online, just like on Amazon, and for like $10, you can buy a fake Arizona iced tea can, and the top comes off and you can hide things inside. So items like that were hidden all over the room, and we let parents or teachers try and find them. And we also worked on vaping policies. We advised the county health department on changing their policies and their employee handbook. And we also advised schools. And one of the things we were trying to get the schools to do was to approach vaping from more of a educational standpoint than punitive. We had a lot of referrals, a lot of kids getting suspended the first time they were caught with vaping devices. And, you know, a lot of kids were just experimenting, and we wanted to back off of that a little bit and have them try education first before discipline. And that was successful. The other goal of Vilas County Youth Coalition is increasing youth resiliency. The two main programs we do that with, again, just mentioning the community garden, and they have a summer camp trying to draw youth in year round. They promote it with this summer camp. And then Vilas County Teen Court, which unfortunately is no longer running once they close the extension office. But I can tell you, I'm in charge of Oneida County Teen Court now, and I do include youth mental health and substance use training when I train the teen court panelists. So the panelists learn some of the issues that respondents might be dealing with at home. And they are doing a very good job of developing sanctions, or in other words, consequences for the respondents, so that they learn from their offenses and get restored to their communities. And also, in regards to youth resiliency, we've been staging an annual Positive Alternatives Conference. This has been going on since, I think, 2007, and it's every fall. All the sixth graders in Vilas County attend. And then we also have sixth graders from a grade school in Minocqua. We have a unique situation here. Our local high school, Lakeland Union High School, we have 9 communities going into one high school, and they cross county lines. So the high school is actually about 55% Vilas County students and 45% Oneida County. And we bring them all together, and there's 7 sessions that they rotate through during the day. They are mixed up, so they're not just with their schoolmates. And Flambeau has really been helping with some of our sessions there. On the left, you can see we have a cultural session. This is one where one of the elders, Sonny Smart, he taught the students some dance steps. And here on the right, this young man, at this time, he was only in 8th grade, and he was talking to the 6th graders. He put a presentation together telling them what it was like to have parents who were abusing drugs, and how he coped with it, and, you know, just how the whole family was getting past it. And it was very powerful. That was one of the 6th graders' favorite sessions. And there's also a lot of team building, which is part of what's going on in the bottom picture there. The conference also covers some healthy living tips. And there's one session we have a gym that we can use, and there's a lot of displays from local nonprofits. The local health department might show bottles of sodas and juices and how much sugar is inside each one. Then the library might have a contest for naming something or drawing a picture. And the Trees for Tomorrow has a display. The community garden comes and has some hands-on activities for the kids. So there's a lot of different displays in one area for that session. And the other thing we do with community connections is Again, we have Stop the Use. We've done free screenings of the documentary Written Off. For those of you not familiar with it, it is about a young man who got addicted to opioids through a surgery he had while he was in high school. And for us, that was a particularly effective showing because it features Eagle River and Crandon areas. So in other words, it's local for us. The young man lived in Crandon and Eagle River, which are local towns. The Youth Risk Behavior Survey. We worked very hard for a number of years first to get all of our middle and high school administrators to give the survey to their students. So we finally succeeded in that. And then we also had to create MOUs. We had to work with the Department of Education, the DPI. We had to work with them to create MOUs because we only have 2 high schools in Vilas when you consider the fact that Lakeland High School is actually in Oneida. So half of our high school students are in another county, and you have to have at least 3 high schools to aggregate your data and get that published publicly. And so if we wanted to use the data, we have to have MOUs with schools, and some schools don't want to give out their data just by themselves. So that's why we have to go through a lot of paperwork so we can combine it, aggregate all the data. And so we finally succeeded in that. And we're looking forward to seeing the data that comes from the next survey, because as you know, COVID is going to really affect everything. And the other thing we do to strengthen our family connections is we built a website. I actually work on keeping this up. This is our website. And we have a link to Stop the Use and the community garden. We have a resource page. So here is where people can find lots of local and area resources, some of them related to substance use and others just more for fun, things to do. There's a link for that in the chat that Megan put in earlier. Thank you, Megan. And then I tend to update it with parenting tips. And right now we're promoting Small Talks, which is advice for parents about having just little snippets of conversation to get their kids to think about underage drinking and avoiding that. We have links to a lot of stuff in the Marshfield Clinic Health System. We partner with them a lot. They're actually the administrators of the Partnership for Success grant. So we work very closely with Marshfield Clinic. And then I just have some fun things that parents can do with their kids. And got to promote 4-H for extension. And also during COVID, I put together this newsletter, and the coalition paid for it to be printed out, and we handed it out to schools and various, the food pantry, health clinic. And when we put this together, we wanted to have a lot of mental health aspects to it. And so I included these virtual recovery resources, hotlines, which were important for us because up here we don't have a lot of great Wi-Fi. So we really needed to have these toll-free numbers and hotlines that people could actually talk to somebody. And then coping with change and loss, stress. So those are some of the again, some of the community things that we had going on. And our partners, Donna is on here, and she's part of the Human Service Center. They also help fund our coalition, and they cover, this is Vilas County here, and Oneida and Forest. And a lot of times we end up working across county lines together to share resources. And as I mentioned earlier, we also help with DEC. So that's an overview of what the Vilas County Youth Coalition does. And now I'm going to stop sharing, and Lashawnda will be able to talk about her Lac du Flambeau coalitions. Miigwech, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Lashawnda Maulson, and I'm going to be sharing the Minnow portion of it. I just want to make sure. Can you guys see it okay? Is it the correct presentation?
We are seeing the presenter view, but I can still see the slides.
Is that okay?
It should be okay if you're okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me get out of there. A lot of what Sharon has shared is we do collaborate a lot. There is a key group of people that are on the Minnow the Healthier Communities Action Team, and the Vilas County Youth Coalition. The Minnow Coalition was established in 2007 from what they call SPIFSIG, Strategic Prevention Framework State Incentive Grant, and that was funded until 2001. That was with the majority of the tribes in Wisconsin all got together and worked on this. There were sub-grantees from the Great Lakes Intertribal Council. A lot of what Minnow does now is volunteer basis. From 2011, we do a lot of mini grants. Lac du Flambeau currently has the State Prevention Framework Grant, and that funds a lot of the goals and strategies that Minnow does. As you can see, the mission and vision is to reduce substance use by promoting healthy lifestyles. A lot of what we do is culture-based and focused as well. Minnow is really key on using the CADCA strategies, providing information, enhancing skills, support. We do policy work. We've worked with our local store on advertisement around alcohol and smoking, or tobacco. A lot of the work we do is collaborative with many different programs within the community, whether it be tobacco prevention, alcohol prevention, any of those different type of things. Throughout the year, we've done a lot of different strategies, evidence-based strategies. We used to do Parents Who Host Lose the Most, which we're currently working with Small Talks and Dose of Reality. So some of the strategies that we do in the community are digital storytelling. Family circles is really key within the community. It's a 19-week AODA parent cultural program, AODA prevention cultural program. We do like an introduction. For the 19 weeks, we meet for about 3 hours. We eat dinner with like family style. We do one of the sessions around AODA prevention. A lot of it is about NIN, which means like identity, yourself, trying to find yourself, how to work better with communication, AODA prevention within your family. And they also have language, which is key, and also who you are. So Ojibwe language is taught for an hour as well, and the youth are separated, and we do activities with them and try to incorporate the language as well. So a lot of what Sharon has shared, we also do the lock boxes. A key thing too that we get is data from our police station around underage drinking, and that is about the citations within the community, where the citations are given, are there adults involved, and we collaborate with Great Lakes Intertribal Council Epi Center, that epidemiologist center, to do reports and if we need to do any type of strategies within certain areas to prevent underage drinking as well. The ORYBS, the Online Youth Risk Behavior Survey, we use that data as well. The social media prevention campaigns, like we talked about and shared. A key thing that we sponsor as well is Family Fun Day, and that's in February. And the collaboration over the year has really expanded with the school, and they also do Ojibwe winter games. So they do snowshoe, they do a bunch of stuff, and it's actually expanded to the area middle schools that come and also share in it. So it's not just tribal, the local tribal school, it's also the surrounding schools that come in and play these games. Community engagement, which I'll talk about a little bit more with the Healthier Community Action Team. I do the drug take back events, the Wild Rice Fest. Again, that's a cultural initiative that's also partnered with the Community Health Center, and they do kind of like a 5K race. And there's wild rice, there's food, there's all different types of things that go on. The program, the prevention program in Lac du Flambeau started sponsoring and organizing Stop the Stigma Awareness Walk, and that's around stigma of being in recovery and mental health. So with the community, the Healthier Community Action Team, I'm sorry, I don't have anything up here. I would kind of struggle with what to put up here because they do so much. It's such a collaboration of people within the community that work together for different initiatives. Like Vilas County does have an initiative. It's on a Vilas County. Minnow is very much more for Lac du Flambeau, but we work across the county too because a lot of our tribal people are not just in Lac du Flambeau. They live in the surrounding areas. The Healthier Community Action Team was actually started from, they were going to apply for the seed and weed grant and it didn't work. We weren't awarded it, but the group stayed together and they are now actually an advisory for many other grants within the community. The Native Connections grant, the Strategic Prevention Framework grant that we have, and the Family Circles grant. I can't, from Medical College of Wisconsin, I apologize. They're all advisory groups, teams from the Healthier Community Action Team. So a lot of the work that we do and the information we share there is very critical, and a lot of decisions are made to help steer the grants within the community. And something else I wanted to share is that these coalitions also work with DEC, the Drug Endangered Children, partner with the Great Lakes Intertribal Council a lot with the different programs there. A key thing that Healthier Community Action Team and Minnow Coalition are working on is a resource guide for Lac du Flambeau with from childcare to recovery to treatment, different resources. They also sponsor Tribal AmeriCorps members. I was actually, that's how I got started in prevention, was in 2009. I was a Marshall Clinic AmeriCorps member. And in 2010, the Minnow Coalition started sponsoring Tribal AmeriCorps members. So for about 11 years, there have been some years where we weren't able to recruit people, but for the most part, we have had AmeriCorps members working within our community, and those members have become program directors, have been working in the school. So it's the people that have applied for it and continue on have gone on to be very successful.
Hey, Lashawnda, you should tell them about your work, the work that the HCAT is doing with the jail too.
Oh, yes. So some of our partners within the Healthier Community Action Team have developed this recovery pod in the Vilas County community. And I cannot remember his name, but it was shared recently that they were awarded like an award by someone. I'm sorry, Sharon, you probably remember a lot of the information about the person, but he works within the jail systems, and he came in and seen the great work that Vilas County does around the recovery pod. They do MRT, they do a lot of different things in there, and they have follow-up for after they're in jail as well, which is like in Lac du Flambeau, what's called 7Gen. And they work with people that are coming out of the jail and in recovery to help keep them on a sober path, I guess you could say. But they do like financial literacy, they do MRT, they do behavioral health type of things. They partner a lot with that. And they've been awarded an award recently by someone coming in and seeing this type of thing. But they've had a lot of success with it. We're trying to get into Oneida County, but there's been some resistance because a lot of our community members go to Oneida County jail as well. But we have medical social workers that work with this, behavioral health therapists that go in there and work as well. So it's been very successful.
Yeah, it's a neat program. What happened is the Vilas County Jail Administrator, Bill Weiss, he was willing to set aside, Lashawnda called it pods, So they have two living areas that are separate from general population. And they hold, what, 6 to 12 people, women and men. And then, so they're always surrounded by people who are also trying to work on their recovery. And they end up going to 2 or 3 meetings a day, different kinds of therapies and things like Lashawnda mentioned. Sarah Ritchie, my colleague I worked with in Vilas County for a while, she started doing Taking Care of You, pieces of taking care of you. She brought that into the jail, and I actually followed suit after she changed roles. And we went in once a month and did that with both the men and women. So it's a really cool program. And like Lashawnda said, it's just been very effective. Thank you.
A lot of the stuff that we do within actually Minnow HCAT in Vilas County, again, is collaborative. Like, we brought in presenters, I apologize, presenters that talk about recovery. Tribal people that have come in and talked about recovery or prevention, like that, have told their story, that type of thing. So we do sponsor a lot of different things, or co-sponsor a lot of different things around prevention within our community. We've done a big deck, basically, presentation within our community. We now have policies. We work with Vilas County. We have our own deck committee in Lac du Flambeau as well. I do apologize if there are any acronyms that I didn't clarify. I know sometimes that it is a little bit difficult with different communities and acronyms. So I did try to like say it out first in the beginning. So I'm done. Thank you.
Well, awesome. Thank you, too. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? Either you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself.
And thanks so much, Sharon and Lashawnda. That's some really wonderful work. And one of the things that really caught my eye around prevention wasn't just kind of messaging around, you know, don't do drugs, don't do this, but the sorts of programming like family circles and other things, and the community garden, things to enhance well-being and quality of life. And just wondering a little bit about kind of how you settled on some of those particular kinds of programs as prevention strategy. If there was sort of like evidence that was brought to you, or if there was sort of a call in the community, or how did those ideas sort of come about?
Yeah, with the Vilas County Youth Coalition and the Community Garden, I was not there when that partnership started. I think it was partly because it's, you know, in the extension office, the master gardener person wanted to pull more youth in, and we were able to be the fiscal agent for the garden. They were able to get, for a while, our nonprofit status transferred over to them. I'm not exactly sure how that all worked, but so that's how the garden started. And same with Teen Court.
Yeah, so like what Sharon said, with the community garden itself, there was the collaboration due to like Vilas County having the 501c3 status. And so the community garden needed some help to be a fiscal agent, and that's how we were able to partner with them. In Lac du Flambeau, we did have a master gardener on our coalition for a while, and we have the Great Lakes Intertribal Council garden as well, and we called it the Gitagan, which is like basically gardening in Ojibwe. And we were working on different pots within the community to have different foods and medicines available to the community as well. So that was an initiative that we did, and it collaborated with the Vilas County one as well when we were doing them in Lac du Flambeau. One of the problems at Great Lakes actually is they have I think they're called Jerusalem artichokes or something like that, and it overtook the garden. And so now they're trying to figure out how to get those out, because like if you leave one piece in there, it's just still gonna overtake it. I think that a lot of the collaborations that we're able to do is just a lot of the work is almost guided by the funding. So being part of the Northwoods Coalition, they have goals and objectives, and they give out these mini grants. Well, these mini grants do direct the direction that we go into with our work. We also have the strategic opioid response grant. And so we do the envelopes, we do the deactivation kits, we're sending those out into the community. So these small pots of funding work with our goals, but they do kind of dictate what we do as well sometimes.
Yeah, that's one thing I found when I inherited the chair of the Vilas County Youth Coalition is we spent so much time meeting the goals of that PSF grant that there wasn't a lot left over. You know, we were doing so much prevention that the resiliency piece wasn't fulfilled as much as I would have liked. And Lashawnda mentioned the mini grants. One thing the coalitions do, and Lashawnda is a big piece of that, she sets up a table. And so the three coalitions talk to each other and say, okay, we're all going to go for this same grant that's going to address the same problem. Let's make sure we don't have redundancy. So we'll take our piece of it and work over here, and you work over there, and we'll work over there. And so, yeah, we really try to be as efficient as possible with our resources.
I would say that a large barrier within our community sometimes that we work against are is siloism within some of the programs. We really do try to collaborate to leverage the funding that we do have within the community for the goals and objectives. And it's all about working with youth and helping the community and reducing AODA issues. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I have a few questions, if I can add. First of all, Lashawnda, I'm really proud of you. I didn't quite hear about the Narcan. Is the Narcan available for general public, like training, and then they can distribute the Narcan to individuals? That's one question. Also, I know they have a drug court in Lac du Flambeau. Is there a lot of like parental or family support that go to drug court regularly to support the person? And then the other question is there any talk in Lac du Flambeau about like starting a recovery community organization, or something beside or near the Family Resource Center, or something like that? And then not a question, but just well, maybe a question. Living in Lac du Flambeau for so many years, one of the biggest problems that I've seen is a culture of acceptance where the significant family member, whether it's the parent or not, they say don't do drugs or whatever, but then their actions or the way they talk to other adults doesn't collaborate what they're telling to the kids. And I don't know if it's historic trauma, but it just seems like there's a inconsistent message from the people, from their own elders. And I just wanted to make a comment on that. Thanks.
Okay, so if I got it correctly, there is a lot in that. I just want to say that we do partner with the opioid overdose prevention and education grant that is here in Lac du Flambeau. Cynthia Leonaco runs that grant, and a lot of our community members have been certified trainers for the Narcan training and distribution within the community. Any community member can go to the pharmacy and get Narcan. The training itself talks about the symptoms that are going on. How do you recognize an overdose? but it's really key on getting those people into recovery and getting them help. So it's like the after an overdose, what do we do? How can we get them that help? We give them resources. The training really focuses on that. And Cynthia is really good about doing like a follow-up. I forget what she exactly calls it, but it's like a little mini training after that fact. And she could give out Narcan within the community. You get 2 of them. So a lot of people have been trained in the community. She really focuses on first responders or frontline workers to give them the Narcan. She has a partnership with the police department, so they trade it out like every 6 months. That's as much as I know about it, but she does do training. She's trained with economic support, even the Vilas County Sheriff's Department, police officers have been trained, and she's handed out Narcan to them. The Family Resource Center within the community, EMTs, even though they work with this already, they still partnered and did a training in Narcan as well. So it is readily available. I would also like to say with community health, they have the needle exchange program to basically reduce the needles within a community. So they give out needles, and hopefully the people that come back and get clean needles, they return the used needles. And that's a key way that we're trying to keep it out of the parks and on the streets, that type of thing. And it has been reduced. And to then talk about the drug court, we partner with the drug court as well. They are really key. It's like an intensive program. They're really monitored. There's different stages. So the first stages is you have to develop a support system, keep people within your recovery to keep you in recovery. I was actually, I had a cousin in the drug court, and I was part of her support system. And so we went to meetings with her. We made sure we scheduled things. If she had any issues or felt like relapsing, she would contact any people in her support system. But she was very monitored. And then they move up a step. And then now they talk about if they want to get education, if they want to start working, to help them be basically reintroduced within the community and have that support system so that they don't relapse as well. And then they graduate from the program. It really all depends. They try not to be punitive in it, because there have been instances where people in the drug court have relapsed. Sometimes they do have to go back to jail depending on what their court orders are, that type of thing. And then so the recovery portion of your question too, I'm not exactly sure. I know there are a lot of things in work. I know that the drug court tries to work on it, and I know that 7Gen has also worked on the recovery portion of it. We also partner with the Recovery Corp, AmeriCorps people through Marshfield, but I'm not exactly sure if there's one specific in Lac du Flambeau. We used to have a couple of recovery coaches or Recovery AmeriCorps members within our community, and as far as I know right now, we don't have any. To talk about the family social norms, I guess you could say, around people using that type of thing, I'm not exactly, that's kind of where Stop the Stigma comes from within our community. We don't want people to be using, but we also don't want to stigmatize those that have used or in recovery, and trying to get that help, because sometimes that would stop people from getting that help. We had worked with community health, and they developed, Stop the Dealing, Start Healing. So there was stickers and like a campaign within the community to really try and get people back into the recovery portion of it within the community and to get the help that they need. Does that answer your questions, Jennifer? I tried to as much as I could.
The only question that I'm not sure if I heard the answer to was any thought or whatever on starting like a place, like a recovery organization, a gathering place for people in recovery, whether old or long-term recovery or new in recovery, a physical building and staffing type so that they have a place to go to. That family circles that very, very glad that it started back up again. It was very, very successful for years. That kind of thing where they go to a place, they might have a meal once a week or whatever. Anyway, that's what I'm kind of wondering about, is a gathering place, or and it's a regular place where they can go to, 7 days a week or something. That's what I was curious about, that I don't think I heard the answer to.
In the community that I know of, there isn't specifically a recovery group. There have been kind of like smaller groups that do support recovery groups, I guess you could say, but nothing super organized across the board, I guess. The Family Resource Center does have like a recovery group that meets. It's kind of goes along with the alcohol AA, Alcohol Anonymous type of group. And so they do meet at the Family Resource Center. And I do believe that the emergency shelter also has a group there. So if they are homeless, they can stay at the emergency shelter. And I don't remember how long they can stay, but they do groups there as well. They do some programming there too to get people back into having a home or a place to get a job, that type of thing. So they do recovery stuff in there as well.
And just to follow up on that, I'd be curious, are there community-based peer support groups like that specifically target Ojibwe community members? Or are they sort of the more general model and community members can participate?
There are some specific like grassroots organizations within the community that meet. Oshki Wavis, I'm sorry, it's a drum group that is in recovery that meets pretty regularly. And they're in recovery. That's a key thing about them. They were given a drum and they really get together and practice that and go to powwows and stuff like that in recovery.
One of our key people, Sue Wolf, is on. She's in all three coalitions, and I saw in the chat she mentioned something about 7Gen. Sue, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything else you'd want to add, either about 7Gen or anything else?
Well, I think the intent of 7Gen is to have a place for recovery people to gather and get resources, and they can meet with like a recovery coach or whatever. So it's had, a slow start. Right now, they're looking to hire a coordinator that will be there all the time. So that's one of the issues that has come up, is not having enough people to man that center. So, but it is there. It's a place that people can go. So I think, the hopes, and John Young is the main one that's in charge of it. I think he hopes to have different activities that will be added or whatever for people to get involved with, so to help with their recovery.
Are there any other questions or comments even, not just concerns? Well, I guess if there's nothing else, thank you, Sharon and Lashawnda, for hopping on and sharing that information with us today. In the next week or two, we will send out the recording and also send along an evaluation as well. So if there's nothing else, I'll hang out for a couple minutes. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everybody.
Thank you very much. Miigwech.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Megan, if you send me the recording, I'll get it captioned ASAP.
Can do. I'll let it upload this afternoon and then I'll send it your way.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Oh yeah, you bet. I was just looking at
Yes, thank
Sue's
you.
chat, trying to figure out what she was looking for. Thank you very much. See you guys
Okay.
later.
Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,